Part 102. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1011. The ghost general raised his long knife and stabbed Xiang Yi's body. At this critical moment, I cast Nine Eyes Heavenly Domain from the darkness and summoned Jingxiao at the same time. When I reappeared, I was already in front of Xiang Yi. Just hearing a clang, Jingxiao and the long knife collided hard. The ghost general didn't seem to expect that someone would come out to stop him, and he looked very shocked. Where did the bastard come from? The ghost will be shocked and then angry. I looked at the ghost general coldly and said, "The person who wants your life." I exerted force on my hand and swung my sword forward. The yang energy emitted by Jingxiao forced the ghost general to retreat. When Xiang Yi saw me, she cried for her father and mother. She came forward and hugged me, shouting, "Lu Su, you are here. If you are not here, I will burp. It doesn't matter if I burp. I haven't finished resolving all those ghost money at home. I haven't said goodbye to Xiaohong, Xiaoqui, and Xiaolan yet. How could Xiang Yi have the same momentum as when he had just defeated 100 with 1? I even suspected that the Xiang Yi I just saw was someone else in disguise. I pushed it away and said with disgust on my face, "Stop howling, can you take care of so many little female ghosts?" Xiang Yi chuckled and replied proudly, "No way. Charming. Plus, he's in good health." I rolled my eyes, "This guy is not that thick-skinned. Get started. Get started. If Mu Qing found out about these things about you, she might not be very sad." Xiang Yi was stunned when she heard the word Mu Qing. You told her." I nodded and replied, "I didn't want to tell her originally, but you also know her character, and my concealment will have no effect." Xiang Yi lowered his head, not knowing what to think about. I said, "I don't know what the relationship is between you and Mu Qing, or what misunderstandings there are, but I want to tell you that Mu Qing really loves you. When she learned that you were trapped, she was so anxious. Cried." Xiang Yi raised a wry smile and said, "The things between her and me are too complicated. I'll tell you about it later." When the ghost general saw that Xiang Yi and I were chatting so happily, his face turned gloomy. "Boy, you really don't take me seriously." I held Jingxiao in hand, looked at the ghost general, and said jokingly, "Who are you? Why should I take you seriously?" This sentence instantly angered the ghost general. "Okay. Good boy. You've completely pissed me off." The ghost general slowly raised his hand and said sternly, me. The Yin soldiers trapped in the canyon and on both sides of the canyon and mountains are approaching us. Bows, arrows, swords, and halberds were all aimed at Xiang Yi and me. Xiang Yi looked a little solemn and asked, "Are you the only one here?" I nodded. Xiang Yi's mouth twitched slightly and he exclaimed, "Why don't you bring your master? How should we deal with so many Yin soldiers?" I glanced at Xiang Yi, rolled my eyes, and said, "What's wrong? Am I so weak in your heart?" Xiang Yi nodded very seriously and replied, "Yes, very weak, very weak." "Okay, then I'll leave first." Xiang Yi quickly grabbed my arm and said kindly, "No, no, no, no. I was wrong. I was wrong, isn't that okay?" I ignored him, holding Jingxiao in hand, looking at the Yin soldiers approaching us. There are too many Yin soldiers, more than in my sea of ghosts. If the Yin soldiers in the ghost sea are summoned, it will be a huge loss for me. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1012. It was not easy to subdue 30,000 Yin soldiers. What's more, Zhang Yuchain hasn't appeared yet, so he can't use the Yin soldiers so easily. "Are you okay? How about you go to the soul locking tower to rest for a while?" Xiang Yi's spiritual body was seriously damaged. If I had been a step later, Xiang Yi would probably be gone. "I can," Xiang Yi said. Since Xiang Yi said so, I didn't say anything else. I looked at the Yin soldiers who were constantly approaching me, and my expression became extremely solemn. Facing such a large scale of Yin soldiers, one can only use the golden light killing slash or the Yin and Yang double dragon formation. I took a deep breath and waved my hand, and the secret heavenly instrument with the golden light killing slash appeared in front of me. Back off, don't hurt you. Xiangyi curled his lips and said with a sigh, I asked you to pretend to be this fork. I was speechless for a moment. Could you please stop disturbing me at such a critical moment? I pretended I didn't hear it. The golden secret talisman floated in front of me. I pointed my sword at the talisman, muttered something in my mouth, and then shouted loudly. In an instant, the secret heavenly treasure floated into the air, emitting dazzling golden light. Then, a huge golden magic circle emerged from the sky. At the same time, a similar magic circle appeared on the ground. The two magic circles echo each other and shine on each other like the blazing sun in the water. The scope of the golden light killing and killing array is very large. But when facing so many Yin soldiers, it is impossible to cover them all, and there are still some fish that will be caught. I activated the magic circle without any hesitation. Countless golden lights are suspended in the air like a rain of arrows. These golden lights are like sharp swords hanging on the heads of the Yin soldiers. Once they fall, they will definitely cause painful harm to these Yin soldiers. I raised Jingxiao high, my expression condensed, and I swung it hard towards the magic circle. In an instant, countless rays of golden light fell from the sky, falling quickly with endless awe-inspiring aura. Ah! The screams of the Yin soldiers were endless. When the golden light touched the bodies of the Yin soldiers, their bodies instantly turned into nothingness and their souls flew away. Xiangyi said on the side, "You're good. I haven't seen you for a few days, but your strength has grown so fast." I smiled and said nothing. Since returning from Penglay Immortal Island, my strength has not increased even a little bit. Although the golden light killing formation is powerful, it is obviously impossible to destroy such a large number of Yin soldiers. However, it is not a problem to inflict heavy damage on them. Countless Yin soldiers were stunned on the spot, and the wailing sounds were endless, which made people's hair stand on end and their scalp numb. After the golden light killing, most of the Yin soldiers in the canyon had disappeared. I looked at the remaining Yin soldiers, their expressions still extremely serious. Xiangyi said at this time, "Don't take it lightly, this time Zhang Yucheng found one of the 6 demon kings." I turned to look at Xiangyi and asked doubtfully, "One of the 6 demon kings?" Xiangyi nodded and replied, "Yes, one of the 6 demon kings, the demon king with Qi Yu's bloodline, is in Bamang Mountain, and everything Zhang Yucheng did was to win over him." Hearing this sentence, I was stunned on the spot. The devil with Qi Yu's bloodline. Now there is some trouble. In the entire Bamang Mountain, there is not only Zhang Yucheng, but also the demon king Chu and the generals who are the ancestors of the zombies. If the 3 of them unite, then for me, it will be a fatal situation that is difficult to reverse. However, I still have a trump card in my hand, which is the mountain protecting formation. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1013. As long as Mu Qing can arrive in time with Shanhun, then we will have a chance to escape from here. The power of the mountain protecting formation cast by the entire dragon vein must be impressive. I regret a little now, why didn't I take the mountain soul with me? However, it's useless to say anything now, it's better to find a way to get out of here first. I turned around and said to Xiangyi, "Let's get out of here first." Saying that, I grabbed his hand and used Nine Eyes Heavenly Domain to leave here. But at the moment when the Nine Eyes Heaven realm unfolded, people were moving in the mountains on both sides of the canyon. I looked closely and frowned, and saw countless Yin soldiers emerging from the darkness. They held bows and arrows in their hands, posing as if they were drawing their bows and shooting arrows, and aimed their arrows at Xiangyi and me. I also gave up the idea of escape from here. Because even if you use the power of the Nine Eyes heavenly domain to leave the canyon, you will still be surrounded by Yin soldiers. I looked around, my expression becoming more solemn. There were simply too many Yin soldiers on the mountains on both sides of the canyon. I am afraid that all the Yin soldiers in Bamang Mountain have gathered here. Xiangyi also said in a serious tone, "It seems that I made a mistake by asking you to rescue me." I looked back at Xiangyi and asked with some confusion, "Why do you say that?" Xiangyi sighed and replied, "Everything that happened in Bamang Mountain was aimed at you." His expression became a little lonely, and there was only guilt in his eyes. "I'm sorry, if it weren't for me, you wouldn't." I don't know why, facing Xiangyi who is so guilty, I feel a little angry in my heart. "What nonsense are you talking about? If I don't come to save you, who will? Do you expect you to save yourself? Before I came to Bamang Mountain, I thought that this might be a trap for me. But I will come even if it is a trap. Because Xiangyi is an indispensable part of my life. He is my friend and my brother. If Xiangyi hadn't helped me many times when I was in trouble, I might have died long ago. How could I give up the brotherhood that is linked to my life so easily?" Xiangyi raised his head and looked at me in disbelief. I waved my hand at her and said, "Don't look at me like that. Now that I'm here, I will save you, even if it costs me my life." "Boy, you." I ignored Xiangyi, looked around, and said coldly, "Zhang Yucheng, stop hiding, I know you are nearby." My voice echoed in the canyon and traveled far and wide. The noisy footsteps of the Yin soldiers also stopped suddenly at this moment, and the surroundings fell into deathly silence. Tap tap tap. A dull sound of footsteps suddenly sounded. I turned my head sharply and looked in the direction of the sound. I saw a figure slowly appearing on a hilltop. "Zhang Yucheng." I murmured quietly. "This guy is indeed nearby." Zhang Yucheng looked at me condescendingly, with a playful look on his eyebrows. "Lusu. Lusu, I originally thought you would be very smart, but you actually came here to risk yourself for a little ghost." Zhang Yu was wearing a retro official uniform, and his whole body exuded a faint golden halo. He looked bright, holy, and majestic. But who would have ever thought that the city god, who is upright and righteous on the outside, is actually a cunning person behind the scenes who will do anything to achieve his goals. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1014. I looked at Zhang Yucheng coldly and said word by word, "Stop talking nonsense. It's time to resolve the grudge between you and me." Zhang Yucheng looked at me with a playful look in his eyes, as if he was confident of winning. "Why are you in such a hurry? You want to settle a score with me? Let me see if you have this ability." Zhang Yucheng waved his hand casually, and a figure slowly walked out beside him. The man was riding a Hummer, 7 feet tall, with slender eyes and a long beard, and he exuded a frightening Yin energy. This Yin energy alone makes my scalp numb and my spine tingling. Xiangyi also saw this person, and he couldn't help but exclaimed, "The Ghost King of Mangshan." When I heard these 4 words, I froze. I looked at the figure and asked with some confusion, "The Ghost King of Mangshan, is he really the great hero Cao? Xiangyi nodded, and then he told me why Cao became the Ghost King of Baman Mountain. The Ghost King of Mangshan was the famous Cao during the Three Kingdoms period. Cao slaughtered millions of enemies during his lifetime and was an overlord with a notorious reputation. Cao in Bamang Mountain was also unwilling to give in and became a powerful, cruel ghost king in the world. I thought this was just a rumor before, but after hearing what Xiangyi said today, it turned out to be true. Logically speaking, there are countless emperors buried in places like Bamang Mountain. Why can Cao become the Ghost King here? This is actually related to Cao himself and the Feng Shui layout of Bamang Mountain. Because the Ghost King of Mang Mountain was too violent, and there were many powerful beings under the Ghost King of Bamang, and Mang Mountain was a very gloomy place in the world, even heaven and the underworld did not dare to send troops to annihilate him easily. It can be seen that Bamang Mountain is really scary. I looked at Mangshan Ghost King, my brows furrowed, his eyes were empty and silent, just like the eyes of a puppet. Obviously, the current Mangshan Ghost King is controlled by someone. I took a breath of cold air. A being like Mangshan Ghost King could be controlled by Zhang Yucheng. How powerful is he? However, if you think about it carefully, Zhang Yucheng was proficient in calculations before he became the city god. He not only deceived Zhang Daoling, but also deceived the White Dragon. Lu Su, let me ask you again, do you want to join me? As long as you can join me, I will definitely regard you as my right-hand man. When the time comes, you and I will launch a mutiny in the underworld together. Rebuild an underworld. As long as we succeed, you and I will be the new kings of the underworld. Zhang Yucheng is extremely ambitious. Not satisfied with becoming the city god of Tianfu, he also wants to become the new emperor of the underworld. I estimate that if he becomes the new emperor of the underworld, his next target will be heaven or even the human world. I looked at Zhang Yucheng coldly and said, do you think I will join you? Oh, Zhang Yucheng asked, why not? I pointed my sword at Zhang Yucheng and said, you are one of the 9 evils and we are destined to live forever. Do you think I will believe your lies? Zhu Shaxing and I are in a situation where we will fight to the death. If I don't kill them, they will kill me. Therefore, what Zhang Yucheng said about wooing me and making me his right-hand man was completely nonsense. Once I believe him, after he has finished using me, he will kill me and transfer my fate to his. The smile on Zhang Yucheng's face faltered and he looked at me coldly. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1015. My words obviously angered Zhang Yucheng. Okay. Very good. Lu Su, I want to see what you are capable of and let me fight with you. Zhang Yucheng stretched out his hand and ordered him fiercely. The Ghost King of Mangshan on one side jumped up and jumped towards the bottom of the canyon. Boom! The Mangshan Ghost King made a loud noise when it landed and kicked up a lot of dust. When the dust dispersed, I looked at the Ghost King of Mang Mountain and found that the ground beneath his feet was cracked. Zhang Yucheng's voice rang in my ears. To deal with you, I don't need to take action at all. Since you have rejected my kindness over and over again, then you might as well die. I looked at the Mangshan Ghost King in front of me warily. The current situation is very unfavorable for me. I have completely fallen into Zhang Yucheng's conspiracy. Fortunately, I had a backup plan and allowed Su Tianqian to stay outside, and there were also Mu Qing and the others. Based on my understanding of Su Tianqian, she would not just watch me being in danger and remain indifferent. But at the same time, she is also a rational person, and she will definitely choose to save me in the right world. The yin energy emanating from Mangshan Ghost King made my spine shiver and my skin feel tight. There are 3 Ghost Kings in mythology. One was recruited by heaven, one became a disciple of Buddhism, and the other is still king in the human world. These 3 Ghost Kings are the One-Horned Ghost King, the Powerful Ghost King, and the Bamang Ghost King. The One-Horned Ghost King appeared in Journey to the West, but the appearance of the One-Horned Ghost King is very strange. He came to join Sun Wukong when Sun Wukong rebelled against heaven for the first time. This time, 2 One-Horned Ghost Kings came to seek refuge with Sun Wukong. These 2 One-Horned Ghost Kings expressed their willingness to become Sun Wukong's subordinates and presented them with ochre robes. They also suggested that Sun Wukong call himself the Monkey King. Sun Wukong was so happy that he named the 2 One-Horned Ghost Kings as the governors of the front. But later, When the heavenly soldiers surrounded Huaguo Mountain, these two one-horned ghost kings were taken away. Some people say that these two one-horned ghost kings were sent by heaven to hold the Shit Basin for Sun Wukong. After all, the title of Monkey King gave heaven a reason to send troops against Sun Wukong. As for the powerful ghost kings, they are very powerful. Although they are called ghost kings, they are very kind-hearted and always respond to requests without harming anyone's life. Later, the deeds of the powerful ghost king spread more and more widely, and finally reached the ears of Buddha. So the Buddha turned into an ordinary walking monk and went to the powerful ghost king to express his appeal. Although I don't know what the specific appeal is, I think it must be very harsh, because the powerful ghost king cut off his own arm with a knife and gave it to the Buddha without any regrets. Seeing that the powerful ghost king was a malleable talent, the Buddha placed him next to Ksatagarbha Bodhisattva and became the ghost king who controlled the ghost realm among the 6 realms. Since Bamang Ghost King exists, then the powerful ghost king and the one-horned ghost king must exist. Maybe we will have a chance to meet him in the future, but I don't know whether we will be friends or foes after we meet him. The empty eyes of Bamang Ghost King were gradually replaced by blood. He shouted angrily, and his body began to change at a speed visible to the naked eye. The size of the Bamang Ghost King continued to increase, and the muscles on his body continued to grow. The veins were exposed, and powerful yin energy emitted from his body. After a while, a small giant appeared in front of me. His face was ferocious, his body was full of yin energy, and there were blue ghost fires burning on his body. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1016. Mangshan Ghost King held his hand in the air, and a long knife appeared out of thin air. The long knife shone coldly in the dark night, its blade was extremely sharp and exuded a simple and mysterious atmosphere. When I saw this knife, I was slightly stunned. This is Bapi Deo. According to legend, Cao made 500 Pi swords. These 5 swords were made by Cao. They are respectively named after dragon, tiger, bear, bird, and sparrow to ward off bad luck and deter evil spirits, hence the name Bapifa. There are rumors that any evil spirit will end up being destroyed by the Bapiao sword. However, there are 5 of these 100 swords, and now Bamang Ghost King has only one in his hand. If you can use 500 swords, you will be invulnerable to gods and ghosts. Just when I was marveling at the Bapi sword, the Ghost King of Mangshan had already rushed towards me. Although he was very big, he was extremely fast. Wherever he passed, sand and dust were everywhere, and an invisible sense of oppression hit me. In the blink of an eye, Mangshan Ghost King had already arrived in front of me. He raised the Bapi sword in his hand, and the fire burning on his body instantly wrapped around the Bapi sword. I saw that Bapi Deodao actually had a dragon pattern on it. It seems that this Bapi sword should be the dragon sword among the 5 Bapi swords. I quickly raised the Jingxiao in my hand and placed it in front of me. I heard a sonorous sound, and the powerful strength of Mangshan Ghost King forced me to retreat. Before I could react, the Bapi sword was already coming towards me. Seeing that I couldn't resist with my sword, I quickly stretched out my left hand, and a hazy and holy white light radiated from the pure lotus mark on my palm, covering me. The ferocious offensive of the Baidu sword also stopped under the light of Jinglian's mark. The Mangshan Ghost King only had a look of viciousness, malice, and madness in his eyes. I couldn't see any sense in his eyes. Unexpectedly, the majestic Ghost King of Mangshan was so completely controlled by Zhang Yucheng. Xiang Yi said quickly on the side, if we want to restore the will of Mangshan Ghost King, we can only break the mark in his soul. In fact, Xiang Yi didn't say anything, I also thought of a countermeasure. There are many ways to control the soul. But there is only one possibility to control it so completely. That is, Janya Chain left his mark on the soul of Mangshan Ghost King. As long as this mark remains, Mangshan Ghost King will never regain his sanity. At this moment, Mangshan Ghost King exerted force on his hands, and the shield gathered by the white holy light slowly shattered. My expression condensed, and I wanted to restore the Mangshan Ghost King to normal. The only way was to injure him and then control his movements. Then he used the ability of soul-seizing blood hand to shatter the brand. Thinking of this, I cast Nine Eyes Heavenly Domain and disappeared instantly. The moment I disappeared, due to inertia, Bamang Ghost King's knife hit the ground hard. Just a bang was heard, and a big hole was made in the ground. I was shocked when I saw this. If it was hit, it would probably be split in half immediately. I didn't dare to be negligent and quickly used Karma Fire. The crimson fire of Karma appears everywhere in the Nine Eyes Heaven like a flower from the other side. In the Nine Eyes Heaven realm, I can control everything that exists there at will. The Ghost King of Mangshan suddenly turned his head and let out a sinister smile, and a huge ghost figure emerged from behind him. The ghost looks ferocious, and its facial features are twisted together, not to mention how terrifying it is. The ghostly shadow roared towards me, and I quickly controlled the karmic fire in the Nine Eyes Heaven realm to block it in front of me. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1017. The ghostly figure transformed by Mangshan Ghost King actually swung his sword and cut the endless karma fire into two pieces. Before I could react, Mangshan Ghost King had already arrived in front of me in the blink of an eye. I suddenly took a step forward, and the yin-yang Bagua array emerged from under my feet, shrouding the ghost shadow in it. I kneaded the formula with both hands and looked focused. The next moment, two black dragons, one black and one white, emerged from the yin-yang Bagua array. In an instant, the sound of dragon roars could be heard endlessly, and the yin and yang dragons circled and danced, entwining huge ghost figures. The huge ghost was unable to move for an instant. The ghost's movement was blocked, and the Ghost King of Mangshan could not move either. I cast Nine Eyes Heaven Realm and disappeared instantly. When I reappeared, I was already behind the Mangshan Ghost King. I activated the soul-stealing blood hand, and scarlet blood spread from my arm, covering Jingxiao at an extremely fast speed. Without any hesitation, I raised Jingxiao in my hand and stabbed towards the body of Mangshan Ghost King. I want to use my soul-stealing blood hand to drive away the soul mark of Mangshan Ghost King. Just when Jingxiao was about to touch the body of Mangshan Ghost King, a pale hand came out of Mangshan Ghost King's body, and then grabbed Jingxiao's sword body. Immediately afterwards, the second hand, the third hand, and countless hands appeared from the body of Mangshan Ghost King. These hands are like the tentacles of an octopus. They are not only numerous, but also extendable. Countless ghost hands attacked me, but because Jingxiao was restrained, I could only dodge back and forth. But there was no way to hide like this. I let go of Jingxiao, and then squeezed the art with both hands. Bloody lightning appeared in my palms, and I superimposed the power of the thunder art. Suddenly, the bloody thunderbolt exploded from around me, directly smashing the tentacles surrounding me into pieces. I held Jingxiao again and raised it fiercely. The ghost hand that was clinging to Jingxiao was cut off by me. I stabbed hard at the Mangshan Ghost King. Jingxiao pierced the Ghost King of Mangshan's back impartially. Ah! The Ghost King of Mangshan let out a heart-rending roar. Although I have successfully injured the Mangshan Ghost King, I cannot accurately find the location of the brand. My brain was running fast and I thought of countermeasures in an instant. I kneaded the technique with both hands, and the seals in my hands changed back and forth. I used the 9 layers of Thunder Ju again, and the bloody thunder and lightning passed along the Jingxiao into the body of the Ghost King of Mangshan. Since the mark cannot be found, use an indiscriminate large area attack to directly injure the soul of the Bamang Ghost King. With my strength, it is obviously unrealistic to completely kill Bamang Ghost King. but the fourth level of thunder can completely erase the mark from the soul of Bamang Ghost King. The fourth level of thunder was buried in the Bamang Ghost King's body like a time bomb. I yelled angrily, and there was thunder in my ears. The next moment, Bamang Ghost King's huge body began to tremble violently as if he had been electrocuted. Seeing this, I took a step back and distanced myself from the Mangshan Ghost King. Xiangyi hurriedly came up and asked, "How are you? Are you not injured?" I shook my head and stared at the Mangshan Ghost King. The Ghost King of Mangshan fell to his knees with a plop. When Xiangyi saw this scene, his mouth opened wide. "Holy shit! That's awesome!" Xiangyi couldn't help but exclaimed. I ignored him and still stared at the Mangshan Ghost King. I didn't know if what I did just now removed the mark. It would have been very troublesome for me if it hadn't been removed. The Mangshan Ghost King trembled on the ground for a while, then slowly stood up. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1018. The resentment and yin energy on the Bamang Ghost King slowly faded away, and the huge ghost shadow was also fading away. I was overjoyed, it seemed to be a success. The Bamang Ghost King slowly stood up and looked around blankly. The vicious and malicious look in his eyes had disappeared, replaced by a shrewd look. "What's wrong with me?" The Ghost King of Mangshan stretched out his hand and stared blankly at his own palms. "You're being controlled." I spoke up. Mangshan Ghost King looked at me, his eyes changed slightly, and asked, "Am I being controlled?" I nodded, pointed at Zhang Yucheng and said, "That's him." Mangshan Ghost King looked in the direction I pointed, and with just one glance, the blank expression on Mangshan Ghost King's face disappeared in an instant, replaced by a look of anger. "Zhang Yucheng, you are so brave. You dare to plot against me." Zhang Yucheng saw that the Ghost King of Mangshan had regained his consciousness, but his face did not change at all. "Calculating? Not really. Isn't this your favorite thing to do? Successful kings and defeated bandits, you are just my defeated general now." The Ghost King of Mangshan was so angry that he jumped up and rushed towards Zhang Yucheng. Zhang Yucheng raised a sneer at the corner of his mouth, and with a wave of his hand, a golden secret cylinder appeared in front of him. The next moment, countless golden mantras emerged from the heavenly secret barrel and struck at the Mangshan Ghost King at extremely fast speeds. When the golden mantra touched the Mangshan Ghost King, he was directly knocked away. The Ghost King of Mangshan had an illusory spirit body, and it looked like he had been seriously injured. Seeing this situation, I was extremely surprised. How could the Mangshan Ghost King be so weak? Xiangyi explained on the side, "The Ghost King of Mangshan is actually very powerful, but this Jade leader is insidious and cunning. He used tricks to get him injured and was finally controlled. That blow you just made his injuries even worse. The Ghost King of Mang Mountain is Cao Cao. Cao Cao is a demonic figure. He is cruel and often performs anti-human and anti-moral actions. His character is also very suspicious and cruel. In particular, he combines tyranny and kindness, honesty and deceit. Such a being was actually fooled around by Zhang Yucheng. This shows how terrible Zhang Yucheng's character is. However, there is an obvious difference between Zhang Yu and Cao Cao. That's because Cao Cao loves talents. Zhang Yucheng doesn't care whether you have ability or not. As long as you get in the way of him, he will definitely kill you." The Mangshan Ghost King fell from mid-air and hit the ground hard. Zhang Yucheng said with a joking look on his face, "The majestic Ghost King of Mangshan was defeated by a kid. It's really embarrassing." The Mangshan Ghost King struggled to stand up from the ground and looked at Zhang Yucheng angrily. However, he didn't do anything. "You are worthless to me now. After I absorb Bamang Mountain's dragon energy, you can die." I looked at Zhang Yucheng coldly and said, "Zhang Yucheng, do you dare to come down and fight me? Now I have to delay time until Mu Qing and the others arrive." Only when they come back can I use the mountain protecting formation. By then, all Zhang Yucheng's plans will be lost. Zhang Yucheng was slightly startled and looked at me with a smile. Why? This time it was my turn to be stunned. This jadehead was really cautious. I looked at Zhang Yucheng and said word by word, if I guessed correctly, if you want to absorb the dragon energy from Buman Mountain, you need an introduction, and this introduction is the Zaiwei energy in my body. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1019. This is just my guess. Dragon energy is not so easy to induce. You must use an introduction. This introduction can be soul, breath, or even human sacrifice to heaven. As the Emperor's energy, Zaiwei's energy can naturally echo with the dragon's energy in the dragon's veins. I originally just asked tentatively, but I didn't expect that Zhang Yucheng actually had this plan. He jumped down from the canyon and approached me step by step. As he walked, he said, I originally thought about taking your body one day, but now it seems that this idea is a bit unrealistic. Because your current growth rate really surprises me. I held Jingxiao in my hand and looked at Zhang Yucheng coldly. At this moment, Bamang Ghost King suddenly said to me, boy, this knife is for you. I looked at Bamang Ghost King and saw him throwing the baby sword in his hand towards me. I caught it steadily, and when my left hand touched the baby knife, I instantly felt a strong aura of awe in it. The baby sword is undoubtedly a precious sword, and it has existed for a long time. Su Tianxian and I produced it in the later stages of Jingxiaoji. However, it is not easy for its power to be comparable to that of Baby Dao. I looked at the baby sword in the book. There was a blue dragon pattern on the blade, which looked very domineering. But how could I use a knife and a sword at the same time? At this time, I suddenly thought of Juyan Tianyu. Maybe, I can control it without holding the baby knife with my hands. I took a deep breath and cast Nine Eyes Heavenly Domain. I let go of my left hand holding the baby sword, and the next moment, the baby sword was floating in front of me. In the Nine Eyes realm, I can control any object with my thoughts. Although this ability is not used much, it is undeniable that as long as this ability is used well, it is a very troublesome existence. In this way, I can achieve the legendary control of the sword with Qi. However, what I am relying on here is not Qi but the ability of the Nine Eyes Heavenly Domain. Zhang Yucheng's face froze when he saw the Mangshan Ghost King lending me the baby Dao, but then he raised a sneer at the corner of his mouth and his eyes were full of disdain. It seems that in his eyes, I am an existence that is at the mercy of others. Zhang Yucheng waved his hand, and the 12 heavenly secrets appeared around him. Lu Su, I gave you the secret of heaven, but I think you haven't been able to use its full strength. While he was talking, obscure incantations slowly appeared on the secret cylinder. Moreover, the golden light emitted by the Tianmailu has also changed. I looked closely and saw that Zhang Yucheng actually cast the 5 Elements Talisman. The 5 Elements Talisman is the secret technique of Longhu Mountain. However, as a disciple of Zhang Tianqi, it is impossible for Zhang Yucheng not to be able to do this. I don't know what talismans Zhang Yucheng used for the remaining 7 heavenly secrets. Zhang Yucheng waved his hand, and the water magic talisman came to him. Today, I want to show you what the real secret of heaven is. As soon as he finished speaking, a torrent of water burst out from the water talisman. The flood is coming with the potential to destroy the world and destroy the earth. My expression hardened, and I controlled the baby Dao to block it in front of me. I mobilized the purple energy in my body to inject it into baby Dao. The next moment, the baby sword Kanglong's blade emitted a dazzling light. With a dragon roar, the shadow of a giant dragon appeared in my eyes. The shadow of the giant dragon enveloped me, and I was isolated from the raging flood. I looked at everything in front of me with some surprise. This baby sword, Long Dao, actually has such power. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbo. Chapter 1020. When Mangshan Ghost King saw this scene, he said with some disbelief, he can actually exert the full strength of baby sword. Hearing this sentence, I was slightly startled. Can I unleash the true strength of the baby sword? But if I think about it carefully, I have a special destiny. Zai Wei came into the world, and I have pure Zai Wei energy in my body. It's not surprising that he can exert the true power of baby sword. Zhang Yucheng's expression changed slightly and he activated a talisman again. Boom! Thunder roared in the air. Just as the thunder passed, a thunder dragon spread out from the talisman and attacked me directly. The power of the thunder dragon is already comparable to the 4th level thunder art. In addition, the previous water-moving talisman can explode with unexpected power. The thunder dragon instantly swallowed up the golden dragon shadow gathered by the baby Dao. I stood in the shadow of the golden dragon, frowning. The power of the thunder talisman exceeded my imagination, because the shadow of the golden dragon was gradually collapsing. I didn't have time to think too much, I just used Nine Eyes' heavenly domain and disappeared. Taking advantage of the chaos, I came behind Zhang Yucheng. I held Jingxiao in my hand and stabbed Zhang Yucheng in the head. My attack is a killing move, and I will never give Zhang Yu a chance to breathe. Zhang Yucheng didn't notice that I appeared behind him, and when he was about to succeed, something strange happened. A pale kid suddenly appeared on Zhang Yucheng's shoulder. The kid bared his teeth at me and rushed towards me. Seeing that the sneak attack failed, I could only retreat continuously. Zhang Yucheng turned around slowly, his face turning very ugly. Lu Su, I didn't expect you to be so despicable and shameless. I raised a sneer at the corner of my mouth and said, despicable? What kind of benevolence, justice, and morality can I say to people like you? Zhang Yucheng's eyes flashed with murderous intent. He raised his right hand high and then suddenly lowered it. 4 heavenly secrets surrounded me, Zhang Yucheng roared angrily, and countless ghosts rushed out from the 4 heavenly secrets. There are so many ghosts, there are more than 1,000. Moreover, these evil ghosts are very powerful, and the yin energy they exude makes my scalp numb. I didn't have to worry too much and just burned it with karma fire. The crimson fire of karma instantly swallowed up these ghosts with the force of a prairie fire. However, these ghosts seemed to be unable to feel the pain and continued to rush towards me like crazy. These are not ordinary ghosts, but Zhang Yucheng's ghost slave. The formation of ghost slaves is extremely complicated and cruel. To obtain a ghost slave, a living person must be imprisoned and tortured day and night, destroying his mind and desire to live. Only in this way can the ghost slave's consciousness be better controlled. Afterwards, secret methods are used to extract their souls and make them into ghost slaves. Ghost slaves are exactly the same as dead soldiers in war. They will only obey the orders of their masters and completely ignore their own safety. With so many ghost slaves, how many people did Zhang Yucheng kill? Seeing these ghost slaves trying to devour me, I need the technique with both hands and superimpose the 9-level thunder technique to the 4th level. Boom! Thunder exploded and defeated the ghost slave. But what I didn't expect was that the souls of these ghost slaves were about to dissipate and would attack me. At this moment, a familiar voice sounded in my ears. Stop messing with him, just kill him. I followed the sound, and the roar suddenly stopped. The person who came was none other than the general, the ancestor of the zombies. It seems that these 2 evil spirits have achieved the purpose of cooperation, and now they are in trouble.